Good morning, everybody, from a sunny Les Sables. Weather here is absolutely gorgeous, and we're doing the tracker today because Don is travelling. In case you haven't met us before, this is Jack.
Hello, and this is Georgie.
Morning, everybody. So Don is making his way over to Cape Town today, and we'll be doing the tracker for today and tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm just going to share the screen and we can get you up to date with what's happening with the OGR boats. Let me move that out of the way. So here we go. Just a quick overview. Here's the map of the chart of all the boats. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And we'll start with the tail enders of the fleet. And we've got Godspeed. So Godspeed, I don't know whether you noticed in the update yesterday that Godspeed are actually able to use their motor if they wish. But they've got to decide what point in time they're going to do this, as they've got the doldrums ahead of them. But if we click on there, you can see that they're currently doing 3.2 knots. And they've actually covered 83 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. So they've got a decision to make as and when they use their motor so they can get into Cape Town, ready to start leg 2. Jack?
Yep. Okay, so moving along, we have Evrika and Explorer that are engaged in their own little race now to get across the equator. If we go over to Evrika, so it's a Swan 65. They are moving away from the rum line at the moment, so they look like they're going like minus 46 nautical miles, but obviously they're not. That's just because they're moving away from the line. So they should be crossing the equator in the next couple of hours, that's hopefully.
Right. And that little mark there, isn't it, Jack?
That's the equator. Yes. Yeah. So basically, themselves and Explorer, which they've gone west. Basically, they look like at the moment they're heading for Brazil. So which is okay. And in full and fair disclosure, in case you don't know, my husband is actually on that boat, so there is a good chance he's heading to Brazil. I think he'd quite like to go there. Yeah. So they did 78 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, but again, that could be in relation to our line rather than the actual distance that they've done. So they were traveling at 6 knots. So what I suspect, because of the wind, if you could just close that, Georgie, the wind is actually, when they cross over the equator, the wind is, I suspect they're going to turn and follow the line down, because the wind is it's southeasterly. There's a big change just across the equator. So hopefully they make a turn and start heading towards Cape Town and less towards Brazil. That would be a nice thing to do.
So what I'm going to do, I was going to put that back to real time. So that's what they're experiencing at the moment. Yeah. So similar winds to Evrika, but Evrika got a little less wind, so they might just pit them to the post.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
We'll see, but also they're very different directions. So they're coming very southeasterly at the minute. Yeah. Whereas Evrika's going to get basically south. They're going to, if they turn, they're going to be beating massively into the wind.
They're going to have to turn south, otherwise they're going to be going way too off the mark there, aren't they? So,
well, they're following Outlaw. So good luck to the two of them that are going to be passing the equator, and hope they have some amazing ceremonies on board.
Yeah, having words with Terry if they don't beat them over.
I'll be having words with Terry anyway, because he needs to get to Cape Town. They're under pressure to get to Cape Town in time for the start of leg 2.
As all of these are at the back end of the fleet here.
So
the race is on.
Yeah, as Don has explained before, that they have a 4-day mandatory stopover anyway to do their safety inspections, obviously provision, and give the crew a rest.
So much to do. Any repairs, because we know Explorer have got a sail repair, haven't they?
And obviously they can't take the sails off the boat. All repairs have to be done on the boat.
Exactly.
So they have a lot of work to do. And in the tweets that came in yesterday from Explorer, they sound like they have a few little issues.
Yes, yeah.
So
and Evrika have got all sorts to do because they lost a life raft as well. No, it wasn't Evrika, it was Triana. Wrong one. Sorry.
Evrika lost a sail overboard. They lost a sail overboard.
Yeah.
No, it was Triana that lost.
Excuse me. Sunday morning.
But so basically those two are racing. They need to get a major wriggle on. And
absolutely. So Evrika's hot on the tail of Outlaw, and Outlaw have actually stuck very, very close to the coast, as you know, for the reasons of the rescue that they undertook. But they don't seem to be doing too bad. They still got a minus 64 nautical miles based on the waypoints on the tracker line here, which is down here. So they're not minus 64 because that's ridiculous, but they are making good progress. They're 6.6 knots. But they are assuming that they're the only ones they're beating into wind and life's uncomfortable on board. Little do they know that everybody is having headwinds and everybody else is experiencing the same weather. They're thinking that the people further west are having a smoother ride, but as soon as they get to Cape Town, they'll realize that that's not true. We've got tweets that India, she's the young navigator on board. She's 23 years old, and she's thrilled that her navigation is absolutely spot on. She got a good position off a passing fishing vessel in the last 24 hours, so her navigation is doing really, really well. So that's Outlaw, and then we've got Sterer over here. So let me just hover over Sterer so you can see the information about Sterer. So Rufus, the skipper on board, they tweeted yesterday to let us know that they're having lots of fresh fish and sashimi and cooking olive bread. So well done to Justino, is that his name?
But they did that really weird. They said they had lemon and egg soup, which I think that must have been a mistake. I don't think, unless maybe that's a South African
maybe it's a delicacy. So we'll have to ask them when they come in. But Sterer, as you can see, they're following very close to the way line that we've put in here on Yellow Brig. So they're doing a really good route. But again, they're experiencing some really uncomfortable seas. I got a tweet early this morning came in, is that they're so close to the equator that they're having to rely on the Dawn Star for their positioning because their sun sights are not being too accurate. So that's the tweet from this morning from Sterer. And they've covered about 155 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, which is quite good, isn't it?
It's really good, yeah. Next we have White Shadows. That's a Swan 57. So that's actually the same boat as Explorer. So and they're doing great. They're doing 7.4 at the minute. So I particularly like these. They're kind of poetic on board. Their tweets are interesting, but I think at the moment the novelty is wearing off the beating of wind as well. They've a bit to go, so they need to calm themselves a little bit. But they're making really good progress. 163 nautical miles. That sounds like a lot.
It does. They're doing quicker than who did 155.
So they're doing really well. Then Gallana with Secure.
Let me move down.
That's Gallana.
There we go.
So everyone loves Gallana with Secure's boat. It's amazing.
It's beautiful boat.
But it's
such good condition, isn't it?
Boat in the race as well. But we just got some amazing shots in photos in from them that we'll get them later in the day of their crossing ceremony. It was so look out for those.
Cool, didn't they?
They do. Well, they are too cool for school, that boat.
Yes, they are.
So Tapio's the skipper aboard. They're a very, very young crew. And they're also a little battle with the other Finnish boat
exactly.
But they are doing very well, and again the southeasterly, so they
forward a little bit for you to see what weather's affecting the crew there.
Let's see what they've that's at the minute. So they're going to it's going to continue much the same. So they have more beating. It's going to be coming more in the beam then, so that'll make it more pleasant. We shall see. Neptune. Neptune are.
So Neptune with Skipper Tanguay on there. So Neptune, they are doing really well. And they're doing 6.6, and they've done 156 nautical miles as well. So they're all doing pretty much the same average. So it's anything between 156 and 165 nautical miles with these guys. Let me just hover over there so you can see the statistics there. They have reported that they are all good with their water, because they had a bit of a...
They did have water issues.
They did, because their desalinator wasn't working well enough. But they seem to have captured enough.
They captured 300 litres of water in one downpour.
That's quite a big downpour, isn't it?
But now they managed to fix their desalinator. It's still a little bit salty, so mightn't be delicious to drink. But if you're thirsty, you'll drink
You'll drink anything.
But no, they're doing fine.
So they're also reporting that they're all having trouble sleeping, because of the bumpy ride they're having with the headwinds. So all upbeat, but I think they're all getting a little weary of this.
I think they're not working hard enough, because if you're tired enough, you sleep.
Well, I don't know.
So that's my theory on sleeping.
Well, that's probably a good point, Jack.
There you go. So I'm not going to tell them.
Maybe we'll have a little conversation with them all when we get into
private. You need to work harder. And that's why you can't sleep.
Although we're not seeing your comments live, Jack and I will see your comments when it's played on Facebook. So let us know what you think about the uncomfortable conditions, and
don't tell them I said that they're not working hard enough. But basically, if you have any questions or comments, only say nice things. We're going to do this tomorrow again,
exactly,
and we'll reply to them.
Absolutely. So next boat we're looking in the fleet is L'Esprit d'Équipe.
Say it the way Don says it.
As Don says, L'Esprit d'Équipe. So apologies for Don's mispronunciation. We are trying to teach him how to say it, but he just keeps forgetting. So L'Esprit d'Équipe have been doing a little bit better today. They've got 7.3 knots the last time I looked, but now it's 7.1. So they're going a little quicker, but they've only covered 111 in the last nautical mile. So I'm looking for a good increase in the next 24 hours, because they are actually going marginally quicker than the other guys who are just behind them. So morale's good on board, but again, they are waiting for a wind shift, because I think they're also getting a bit disappointed with the headwinds. But that's what sailing's all about, isn't it?
But what's interesting about them, so they're former Whitbread winners. So they've won. They've taken part in it 3 times, and they've won once. But so they're on next. They're very close to Triana.
Who's doing well.
Triana's doing consistently well, but much smaller boat, like Swan 53. So the fact that they're, again, not saying Esprit d'Équipe isn't working hard, but the fact that Triana are doing so well, first in their class, first in Sayula class, very impressive.
Exactly.
So we're very impressed with Triana, keeping an eye on them, but consistently over 7.6 again, doing 211 nautical miles. And 4th in IRC rating, so very impressive. Triana, and it'll be a popular boat.
Following the tracker here, right down the.
See how straight their line is. So there's some good navigation going on there.
And then we've got Translated, who are Translated 9, who are down here. They are going slightly south of the tracker line here. And they're doing quite well, actually. They are first in hire and first in their IRC. 8.5.
That's good.
They're really making that boat move in similar conditions to everybody else, but she's actually moving really well, isn't she, Jack?
So let's hope Marco's, who is the co-skipper on board, who's like sailing. I think he only started sailing like 4 years ago. He tweeted earlier on in the week as well that he was on the satellite call that he was back suffering from seasickness. So we hope that
I'm sure they all are, actually.
So we hope that the bomb has stopped, because that's not pleasant.
So Translated doing really well there, and again they are saying it's hot, it's uncomfortable, and they're doing their beat into Cape Town. Funny, just going back to what Outlaw said, they are estimating that they're going to be beating for 20 days. That's what they're thinking, and that's tough going, isn't it? That's really
definitely
tough. But 147 miles in the last 24. It's good, but they are picking up speed. So I'm hoping by tomorrow they pick up a little bit more in their mileage per 24 hours. But yeah, and then we've got Spirit of Helsinki, Jac.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to go back to Maiden first.
Apologies.
Yeah. So Maiden had they're doing 7.7 and 138 nautical miles. They had a little bit of drama earlier on in the week as well, because the seam on their mainsail came apart. So during the night, the whole team were up and they had to take the whole mainsail down.
That's hard work.
Massive job,
particularly when you're beating. It's that movement. It's just going to be really
so they were 4 hours fixing the seam, and then had to wait till it was calm enough to get the main back up. So they had they slowed just slightly, but super impressed that they did that. There was a few bruises, black eye, I think. But no, very impressed with that. They are also struggling. They said moving around on the boat at the minute is like climbing Mount Everest in Crocs.
Is that what they said?
Yes. So they need more grab rails. I think they're thinking about this as very much as not a shakedown, but tweaking things for the Southern Ocean, where they're going to be pushed big time. So, and I think definitely more grab rails. So I quite like the idea of climbing Everest in Crocs.
Yeah, that's quite a good analogy, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Crocs.
What so has actually done that?
I sailed across the North Pacific in Crocs because I had a broken little toe.
Yeah, but I think it's a good point what you're saying. This is a really good shakedown for them to realize what additions they need to do to their boat for safety. And some of these crews haven't sailed together before for long distances, and then they've got a changeover of crew on some of the yachts as well, not particularly for Maiden, but for the rest of the
some of them
are swapping out so that learning curve is just going to keep continuing from Cape Town, and then as they get into Auckland,
so they need to keep skipper and first skipper definitely and first mate the whole way around. So that's part of right.
So Spirit of Helsinki, Jac.
Spirit of Helsinki again, consistently. Look at how straight their line is. It's super impressive. 8.6 knots. They don't like not having the ability to get their weather forecast.
No, exactly.
And I think that's causing them a little bit of stress. But it's definitely not affecting their performance. They're first in Sayula class, so
and fifth in IRC.
So it's a big boat, big Swan 651, nice big amazing boat. But very impressive speeds, and just doing consistently pushing.
Exactly.
So they have maybe the straightness of the line. They have Ian Herbert Jones on board. So a GGR skipper. So obviously his navigation skills are coming into play there. So they are doing really well.
I think we've got to have a little note of caution, really, Jac, when we talk about the IRC placings. Because if you think about where Avrika and Outlaw are, they're saying that the tracker here is saying that Outlaw is 14th in the IRC, and it's quite clear from here. I don't think she's actually going to be 14th, is she? So she's not in the back. She's not at the back. It's just because she's off this run line. So although we're giving results here for IRC ratings, it's not going to be the actual result. It's when these guys come back in and start having a negative mileage when they come on the tracker. And
then of course Penjuic.
They're doing
so again, obviously, what can you say, 9.7, but it'll be interesting now, the route. Can you just drop that for a sec? So they need, if they can skirt along here, so they're now getting their winds from the
squirt
along. Yes, I actually meant to say skirt, but I didn't think anyone would notice until that I said squirt along. But that could be a new nautical term, that they squirt along. So their winds now, can we see what their winds are going to do?
Absolutely. Let's do the winds for the whole fleet. So let's bring it in a bit so we can see the whole fleet.
All right.
And let's move it forward a little bit.
And
see what's happening.
So just for Penjuic there's like a little corridor. If we can go back there, can we go down there a little bit?
Of course.
See, there's a little corridor there. If Penjuic can come along there and scoot in there and then back around. So, but that's going to be difficult.
Big hole
So
let's forward a little bit and see what she's got on Tuesday. Oh, look at that.
See that it's like, because Well, the boat had a corridor that brought them through the doldrums. It was like as if it was like the yellow brick road. Although it was green. So brought it right down. And I think it looks like they're going to have good luck again. And maybe they're going to have another magic corridor that they can, because there's the doldrums here. Well, not there's a high pressure here, the big high pressure above them. But if they can scoot in through there, that would be pretty amazing.
It would be really good. And as you can see, the wind's changing a little bit. So here we're looking at the 9th of October. And the wind is actually going to start coming on their beam.
Yeah.
So maybe we can have less tweets about how uncomfortable it is and they're not sleeping. As for Explorer and Evrika, as we move forward in time, Explorer, Outlaw and Evrika, you can see that their wind is actually going to start decreasing. Still pretty much on the nose for Outlaw. So they might slow down a little bit. And for Explorer, they're going to have to start heading south a little bit.
And turning, and that they're going to then have it on the we'll see the real beamy as well. That'll be on the beam unless they are going to need to turn. But it'll be really interesting again, just for Pendurk. They're going to have it just look from behind.
So thanks everybody for, I'm just going to stop sharing the screen. So over the next 24 hours, Don is traveling to Cape Town. Lucky him. And then Jack and I follow on Wednesday. So Don will be back at some point on Wednesday, because when we take off, Don's going to take back over again. Please put any questions in the box underneath, and Jack and I at some point today will get around to answering any questions. Anything else from you, Jack?
No, I hope that was okay. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different, maybe.
And a new word for nautical term, squirting.
Squirting along. Thanks for pointing it out.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.